This is Glenna Lunday, your teacher in economics, and we're going to go through today Chapter 3 optional problems that are on your web page. So I'm going to work these out and show you exactly what you're looking at for the answers for these problems. As you can see, we have Sundays, quantity demanded is QD, quantity supplied is QS. So we're going to take each one of those and we're going to plot those on the graph. So as it tells us with our quantity demanded, if we have $1 for the price, then we will have 3,000 Sundays per day. So we're going to come down on the graph at $1. We're going to come across to 3,000 and we're going to plot that point. So plotting that point is going to be approximately in this area right here. Now we're going to go with the second point. At $1.20, we have 28 Sundays. So at $1.20, we have approximately 28 Sundays. And we want to plot that point. At $1.40, we have 26 Sundays. At $1.40, we have 26 Sundays. Okay, I'm going to go on up. You can plot each one of those, or you can just find several of those and plot them so that we can connect the dots. So I'm going to go to $1.80, and at $1.80, we have 2,200. At $1.80, we have 2,200. And then I'm going to go on up to $2.40. I'll go up to $2.40, and we have 1,600. 1,600 at $2.40. And at $2.60, we have 1,400. And then at $2.80, we have 1,200. Now, all we have to do is connect the dots. And that looks like your demand curve. That looks like a demand curve. Now let's go to your supply curve, quantity supplied. When we have $1, we have 600 supplied. We have 600 supplied when we have $1 as our price. Then let's go on over. And I'm going to come over to 160. When we have 160 for our price, we have 1,800. So we have $1.60, and then we have 1,800. When it's $1.80, we have exactly the same. 2,200 at $1.80. Then I'm going to go on up to $2.40, and we have 3,400 at $2.40. And at $2.80, we have 4,200. Now you can take each point, or you can do as I have done. Now let's connect the dots. And this is known as a supply curve. That's known as a supply curve. Here we are in equilibrium at $1.80 for our equilibrium price, and we are here at 2200 for our equilibrium quantity. $2,200, and we can also see that from the top. We are in equilibrium where quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. Equilibrium, $1.80, and 2,200 for our equilibrium quantity. Okay, let's go to the second page. It says, both the schedule and the graph illustrate that as the price falls, consumers means buyers. So if the price falls, quantity demanded rises. So as price falls, consumers will increase their quantity demanded. Suppliers will decrease their quantity demanded because as the price falls, quantity supplied also falls. Quantity supplied will fall. Now let's go with the opposite. As the price rises, so when the price goes up, buyers do not want to buy as much, so quantity demanded will fall. And as the price goes up, suppliers want to sell more, so the quantity supplied will rise. So consumers, buyers, the quantity demanded will fall. Suppliers, the quantity supplied will rise. This is the law of demand and law of supply. So the law of demand, as the notes indicate, says there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. As price rises, quantity demanded falls. As price falls, quantity demanded rises. Law of supply says there is a direct relationship. So, as with quantity and price, price and quantity supplied. Price and quantity supplied, there is a direct relationship. So, as the price rises, quantity supplied rises. Or, as the price falls, quantity supplied also falls. Now, in our above example, we said we have $1.80 as our equilibrium price, and we have the equilibrium quantity at 2,200 Sundays. So we can see that back on the previous graph. Now, let's look at what happens if we're charging $1.40 per Sunday. Let's go back to the previous page and see what happens if we're charging $1.40. Okay, you can look at it from the table or you can look at it from the graph. At $1.40, quantity demanded is 2,600 and quantity supplied is 1,400. So when we take the difference of those, that's a difference of 1,200 Sundays. Now, quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. So buyers are willing to buy more than suppliers are willing to supply. Therefore, that's going to give us a shortage. That will give us a shortage. When quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied, we have a shortage of 1,200 sundaes. Now, we can also see this on our graph. At $1.40, when we draw this line, when we draw that line, at $1.40, we come down at $1.40 and we have 1,400 quantity supplied. And when we touch this, we have 2,600 quantity demanded. So now when we subtract those two, once again we have a 1,200 difference. Quantity supplied is less than quantity demanded. So we have a shortage of how many sundaes we have if we charge $1.40. So if the price is below equilibrium price, this creates a shortage. $1.40 is below $1.80. $1.40 is below $1.80, so we know we have a shortage. Then we calculate how much of a shortage. So with page 2, we go back. If the price is $1.40, there would be a shortage of sundaes. How large would this shortage be? 1,200 sundaes. 1,200 sundaes. Now let's look at it if we charge $2.40. So we'll go back to page 1. Go back to page 1. If we charge $2.40, 1,600 minus 3,400, we have a difference of 1,800. So now quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, so we have a surplus. We have a surplus of 1,800 sundaes. We can also see this on the graph. At $2.40, $2.40. Let's draw it across. At $2.40, we have 1,600 sundaes demanded, QD. We have supplied 3,400. Quantity supplied. So that's a difference of 1,800. And since quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, we have a surplus. Now, if the price, in our case it's $2.40, is greater than equilibrium, we have a surplus. Because suppliers are willing to supply more than buyers are willing to buy. So that creates a surplus of sundaes in the market. Surplus of sundaes in the market. Let's go on to the following page. Let's go on and try this again. Now we're given the quantity supplied and the quantity demanded, and we're asked to place these on the graph. So once again, we come down to the graph. Once again, we come down to the graph. So it tells us that we're going to put these at 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600, and 650. Now we're going to give the price. The y-axis is always the price. The x-axis is always the quantity. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and 24. So when the price is 4, the quantity is 100. So 4 and the quantity is 100. When the price is 12, the quantity is 300. So the price is 12, the quantity is 300. And when the price is 20, we have 500. So when the price is 20, and when the price is 24, we have 600. So here we go with our supply curve. Supply curves are always up to the right. When the price is $4, the quantity demanded is 550. When the price is 12, we have 350. When the price is 12, we have 350. When the price is 20, we have 150. And when the price is 24, we have only 50. Now we're going to draw and connect these dots. And of course, this is a demand curve. Of course, this is a demand curve. Now here we're in equilibrium. Our equilibrium would be $13. Equilibrium price, $13. And equilibrium quantity, 325. I'll draw it down here. 325. Equilibrium quantity. So as it tells us in B, how much is the equilibrium price? $13. And how much is the equilibrium quantity? 325. Equilibrium is where quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. Next item says, if we charge $10. If we charge $10, this is below the equilibrium price. So if we charge $10, I'm going to take and draw this across at $10. So if we were to charge $10, quantity supplied at $10 is going to be 250. Quantity demanded at $10. Quantity demanded is 400. So if we take 250 minus 400, that's 150 difference. Quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied, so that's a shortage. Quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied at $10, so that's known as a shortage of 150. So here we go. Here it is, and here it is. So back up at the top, would there be a shortage or a surplus? It's below the equilibrium, so it's going to be a shortage. And how much shortage? 150. Next it asks, okay, well, what if we're charging $22? So at $22, here we go. At $22, we have quantity demanded. At $22, quantity demanded is 100. At $22, quantity supplied is going to be at 550. So therefore, 100 minus 550, we have a difference of 450. Since quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, we have a surplus. Quantity supplied greater than quantity demanded is a surplus. So at $22, it's above equilibrium. It has to be a surplus. Anytime the price is above equilibrium, it is a surplus. So we're going to have a surplus, and we're going to have a surplus of 450 goods. 450 goods. Now, all of those dealt with prices. All of those dealt with drawing the supply curve, drawing the demand curve, and changing positions on the demand and on the supply curve. So when we find the equilibrium price, if it's above, we have a surplus. If the price we're charging is below, we have a shortage. So all we have to do is come to the demand curve and the supply curve. So quantity demanded, quantity supplied. They're on the curve. Movement along the curve. That's the first point. And please go back and download my Chapter 3 notes on your web page and study those with what happens with the law of demand and law of supply. Means when the price changes, the quantity demanded and quantity supplied changes. Now, we're going to change this and we're going to shift the curve. So these are changes in supply and demand. So we have 6 determinants for, and I'm going to use a triangle, change in demand, and we have 6 determinants for change in supply. They're all on my notes that are right on the web page. So these will shift the curves. Right is an increase, left is a decrease. Right shift means increase, left shift means decrease. So what we have to do is go back to my notes, pull off those 6 non-price determinants. You're not changing the price of the product, you're changing something other than price of the product. So in the first one, it says sellers drop out of the car wash business. Sellers means supply. If they drop out, the supply will fall. If supply falls, you're going to shift it back to the left. So now we have a new equilibrium price and a new equilibrium quantity. New equilibrium price, new equilibrium quantity. So the price of the product went up, the quantity of the product went down. So equilibrium price rises, equilibrium quantity falls. Second one, we have demand. What happens with demand if the advertising campaign is successful and therefore more buyers are buying the clothes? The demand has increased. If the demand increases, we're going to shift the demand curve to the right. So we're going to take the old demand and shift it to the right. Keep the original supply. So now we have a new equilibrium. Price has gone up, quantity has gone up. So when we have an increase in demand, our new equilibrium price is higher and our new equilibrium quantity is higher. Number 3, a local water company finds its cost increasing because of environmental regulations. Cost means increase in price of resources. Cost means supply. If it costs you more to produce, supply is going to the left, supply is going down. So here's our original supply and original demand curve. Price, quantity. So here's our original equilibrium. We're going to take our supply curve and we're going to shift it to the left. Here's our new equilibrium price. Here's our old equilibrium price. So price went from here to here. Quantity was here. It's now here. So equilibrium price goes up. Equilibrium quantity goes down because we have a reduction in supply. Next item is price. Price cannot shift the curve. It says the price of automobiles goes up. So the price is rising. Therefore, when it's a price change, here's our equilibrium. Here's the equilibrium. So that simply means that we are charging a price higher than we have an equilibrium. So that means here we go, quantity demanded, and here we go with quantity supplied. So quantity demanded is less than quantity supplied. So therefore, we have a surplus of automobiles in the market. It does not change the equilibrium. Price can never shift a curve. You have to shift a curve to change your equilibrium. Number 5, buyers. Buyers automatically means demand. Buyers notice that they have a decline in their incomes. So demand is falling. So if demand falls, supply, demand, price, quantity. Here's our original equilibrium. We're going to take the demand curve and we're going to shift it to the left. So shift it back to the left. Here's our new equilibrium. Price goes down and the quantity demanded goes down. Price goes down, equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity goes down. Fans. Fans means buyers equals demand. Fans become more supportive of a football team because it's winning. Demand for those season tickets are rising. Supply, demand, price, quantity. So now let's take that demand curve and shift it to the right. Here was our original equilibrium. Here's our new equilibrium. Price went up. Old quantity, new quantity demanded. So therefore, price goes up, quantity demanded goes up. Last one, technology is supply only. So technology makes it cheaper to produce. Supply is rising. Therefore, we draw it. Here's supply, here's demand, here's price, here's quantity. So now, here was our original equilibrium. Get this over there. Here was our original And here's our original, see if I can get it over there, we go, quantity. So we're going to take this supply curve and we're going to shift it to the right because we're increasing it. Increase to the right, decrease to the left. So now we have this new equilibrium. So price has fallen and quantity supplied has increased. Price has gone down, quantity supplied has gone up because supply has increased. Let's go to the next page. Buyers decide that a product has been a fad and is now out of style. So that means our demand has fallen. Supply, demand. Shift the demand curve to the left. Here is our old equilibrium. Here's our new equilibrium. So price went down, quantity down. Equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity, both have gone down. Buyers means demand. Expect that Freon will be unavailable in the future, so they're going to buy today. So demand will rise. If you expect that there will be higher prices in the future, you expect it will be non-existent in the future, buy everything you can today. So demand shifts to the right. Here is our original equilibrium, price and quantity. Here's our new equilibrium, price, new equilibrium, quantity. So price goes up, quantity goes down. Quantity goes up for equilibrium quantity. Next one, raise their prices. That's a price increase. So therefore, here we go with supply, demand. Here's the equilibrium, but we're going to charge a price higher than the equilibrium. So we have quantity demanded, quantity supplied. So quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, surplus in the market. Anytime you change the price, you cannot shift the curve. It just says that the price will be higher or lower than the equilibrium. Buyers is demand. The number of buyers decreases. Demand decreases. So therefore, here's our supply, here's our demand. Shift the demand to the left. So the price goes down, equilibrium quantity goes down. New stores open in town. Stores, supply. Now we have more suppliers of the product. So the supply is going to shift to the right. Shift it to the right. Here is our original equilibrium. Here's our new equilibrium. Price goes down, quantity goes up. 13, price goes down. So now the price is below the equilibrium. So we've got quantity supplied and we've got quantity demanded. So since quantity demanded is greater than supply, we have a shortage. But we changed the price. That's the only item we changed, so we can't shift a curve. Price can never ever shift a curve. Supply. Seller shifts everything into what they have for the more profitable area. So that tells us that supply is going to increase. So if supply increases, we're going to shift the supply to the right. Here's our new equilibrium. So price has gone down and the equilibrium quantity has gone up. Price down, quantity up. We're going to continue with the next page, exactly what we're doing here, showing these changes in demand, supply, or price. So the first one says, what is the effect in the market for aspirin when a major report says it's healthful to take one each day? That's going to increase the demand for aspirin. So we take the demand and we shift it to the right. That means we have a new equilibrium price and a new equilibrium quantity. So equilibrium price is higher, equilibrium quantity is higher. B, what happens in the market for CDs when the recording group popularity fades? That's taste and preference. That means the demand is going down. So we're going to take that demand curve and we're going to shift it back to the left. Here was the original, here's the new. So price has gone down and quantity has gone down. So equilibrium price went down, equilibrium quantity went down. C, what's going to happen for quick oil changes? Raise their prices. Those are price increases. Let's take and draw it above equilibrium. So that tells us that we have quantity demanded and quantity supplied. Quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, so we have a surplus in the market. Surplus in the market. D, what would be the effect of a drought on the market for popping corn? Drought means that the sellers will not be able to supply as much because they can't grow the crops. They can't grow their crops. So that tells us that the supply is going to fall. The drought will create the crops to be not as much as what they could be if they had enough water. So that says we're going to shift that supply excuse me, to the left. New equilibrium price, old equilibrium price. So the price went up. Old equilibrium quantity, new equilibrium quantity. The equilibrium quantity goes down. So price rises, quantity falls, equilibrium. Here's our new equilibrium. E, what happens in the market for pasta when the cost of flour? So flour is the main ingredient for pasta. So you raise the price of flour and the cost to produce the pasta goes up. So the supply of the pasta is going down because they raise the price. They raise the price. So just like the last one, we're going to take the supply curve and we're going to shift it back to the left. Here's our new equilibrium. Old equilibrium right there. New equilibrium. Price goes up. Quantity goes down. All right, let's go to the next page. It says, what will be the effect on the housing market now if buyers expect prices of new homes will increase in the future? You're going to buy it today. If you expect it to go up $10,000 more in the future, you're going to buy today. So the demand will increase. So therefore, we're going to take that, increase the demand. Here's our new equilibrium. Here was our old equilibrium. Price is going up. Equilibrium quantity is going up. Price up, quantity up. Letter G I've already done for you, and it says, what will happen in the home health care worker market if the federal government establishes a minimum wage that is below the equilibrium rate? So right now, we have $7.25 as our minimum wage. If the government comes in here and lowers minimum wage to $7 an hour, that means the suppliers only have to supply at $7 an hour. So therefore, that's going to increase the supply because suppliers want to supply at cheaper wages. So we're going to take that supply curve and we're going to shift it to the right. Therefore, here we go with our new equilibrium. The equilibrium price goes down. The equilibrium quantity goes up. Letter H. If movies shown in theaters and movies rented for home viewing are substitutes, what happens in the movie rental market when movie theaters raise their prices? Well, if they raise their prices, then that means the demand for home videos are going to go up. That means that the demand will go up. So we're going to shift that to the right. And here's our new equilibrium. Here was the old equilibrium. Here's the new equilibrium. So price went up. Equilibrium quantity also goes up. It says, what will happen in the market for copy services when new stores open? New stores open mean there will be more suppliers in the market. So we're going to take the supply curve and we're going to shift it to the right. Here was the old equilibrium, price, old equilibrium, quantity. Here's the new price and the new quantity. So the price goes down, equilibrium quantity up. Last one, what happens, and it doesn't matter any market, if the price goes down. What happens if the price goes down? Draw it below equilibrium. We have quantity supplied and we have quantity demanded. Since quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied, we have a shortage in the market. That is a price change. So hopefully this will help you with Chapter 3. I know that it is the most difficult of the first 4 chapters. Please go back to my Chapter 3 notes that are on the web page. Please go back and review those intensely, and I think what we've done today will make a lot more sense to you once you go back and you look at those Chapter 3 notes. We need to know that the law of demand simply says when you change the price, you change the quantity demanded and you move on the demand curve. The law of supply says you change the price, you change the quantity supplied, This, of course, demand is inverse. And we have direct for quantity supplied. Those are always price changes. You change the price of the product. Therefore, you're moving along the curve. Non-price changes shifts the demand or the supply curves, right or left. So go back and look at those 6 non-price determinants that shift the demand curve and 6 non-price determinants that shift the supply curve. I hope this helps. Go back and review it as much as you can, and I think that will help you with both of your Chapter 3 homeworks as well as your quiz and upcoming exam for Chapters 1 through 4. Email me, call me if you have any questions.